All right, let's look at your warm-up. Directions say, determine the slope of each line. Folks, what letter is slope? M. What equation has an M in it? Slope-intercept y equals mx plus b. So if I want to know the slope, they have to be in that form. In number 1, is the first line already in that form? Yes, it is. So what's the slope of the first line? Everybody see that? Yes? Okay, the second equation there. Does that already have y all by itself? It does not. How do I get this y by itself? So now I have y equals, folks, what's in front of the x? What's in front of the x? A 1. Does 1 divide by 2? No, it does not. So we're going to leave it as 1 over 2 x. So what's the slope of that line? Everybody good? All right. How do I isolate the y in the next one? Does 2 divide by 4? No, but it reduces. What is 2 over 4? What is 2 over 4? Can I divide both of them by 2? It's 1/2. And those are x's. And then what's 4 divided by 4? All right, so what's the slope of this line? 1/2. Hey, folks, what do you notice about the second and third lines? They're parallel. You see how those slopes are the same? If you were to see a graph of these things, those two lines would never touch. Fine? What do you notice about the first and second lines? That is a whole number, but couldn't I do this? Yeah. What happens when I flip this over? And one's negative, one's positive, right? Aren't those opposite reciprocals? So what do I know about those two lines? They're perpendicular. They're going to cross at a right angle. And I know that without even having a graph in front of me because I know the slopes. Good? Let's do number 2. What variable do I have to get alone? Y. Let's start going around the room. Dalton, how am I going to isolate that y in number 2? Okay. Perfect. One more step, sir. Okay. Does -3 divide by 5? What do you guys think? No. So I'm going to leave it as -3/5 x. And then what's 10 divided by 5, Dalton? Perfect. So looking at this line, what's the slope? Awesome. Gauge, second equation there. How am I going to isolate the y? Second equation up here. How am I going to isolate that y? Subtract what? Yep. So once we do that, those cancel. What's left there, sir? -3y. And then can I put those two together? No. So I'm going to leave it as -5x minus 6. Does everybody see how we're not putting those together? And I'm putting the x's first. Okay, one more step there, Gage, to get the y alone. How do I get rid of this? There we go. Divide by -3. So y equals, does 5 divide by 3? No, but a negative over a negative is a. So this will be positive 5/3 x. And then what's -6 divided by -3? 2. Am I allowed to have slope as a mixed number? No. What's my slope here, folks? 5/3. Perfect. Good. What do you notice about these slopes? You guys gotta look at them. They're perpendicular. Aren't they opposites? Aren't they reciprocals? They're perpendicular. What else do you notice about these lines? They have the same starting point. Look at this. They both start at 2, don't they? Yep. Awesome. All right, let's fill in some notes for today. What do you know about parallel lines? 2 things. They don't touch and same slope. They don't touch because they have the same slope. Okay, what do we know about perpendicular lines? How do they cross? 90-degree angles with opposite reciprocal slopes. Perfect. Okay, they cross at 90 degrees because they have opposite reciprocal slopes. What's that? So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. All right. What thing in y equals mx plus b am I going to be concerned with today if I'm talking parallel and perpendicular? M, the slope. Good. So you can see here, this is my slope. This talks about slope, and this talks about slope. I am most concerned with the slope. Moral of the story today. Good? Yes? Okay, here we go. We're going to start off nice and easy, and then we're going to get a little bit more difficult as we go today. So take a look at your directions. Read them to yourself, please. Read those next directions to yourself. What do they want me to write? Well, wait a second. Slope-intercept form equation, what does it got to look like then? That's what all my answers should look like, guys. Like that. And they tell me they have to go through a point. Guys, what does a point look like? Okay. Yes, a dot. An X and a Y. A point has an X and a Y. Look at all those problems. Do they all have a point with them? Yes. Yeah, they do. An X and a Y. What do I know about parallel? Because the slope has to be the same. The slope, the M, has to be the same. So here we go. You see number 1? Does everybody see the point in number 1? Do you see the equation in number 1? That equation is a line, isn't it? So I want to make another line that will be parallel to that line and goes through the point they gave me. That's the whole goal here. Fair enough? Well, in this point, what is that -1? No, what is this -1? What is this 2? I need the slope, don't I, to be the same? What's my slope? Perfect. So all I need to find is the what? Which is the B. Perfect. All you have to find is the B. Now, sometimes I have students say to me, well, hey, lady, isn't this a B right here? Isn't that a B? It is. But if I just use that B, isn't it just going to be that same exact line and then it's going to be right on top of each other? That's not what I want, is it? No, I want them to be parallel. Okay, so I cannot use this B. I got to find a new one. And in order to do that, you're going to plug it in to y equals mx plus b form. And you've done this before. We ready? What's my y? 2. What's my m? A half is my m. Now my x is -1. Does that make sense, Tyler? And then I don't know the b. I've got to find it. And I'm going to go back to Luke because I think I only made it to Gage here. Luke, what are you going to do next? And that gives you -1/2. Luke, what are you going to do next? I'm not going to subtract it. I'm going to add it. How's everybody doing? Luke, can you tell me what 2 plus 1/2 is? You got it. And now all the work has been done. All you have to do now is write your final equation. So y equals, folks, what was my m? 1/2 x. And what is my b? So that line that I just wrote is parallel to this line up here, and it goes through that point. Does everybody see what we just did there? Okay. Now we're going to do that about 3 more times. Okay. All right, number 2. Actually, can we skip number 2 and go to number 3 for a second? Number 3. Okay, what is the -2? And the 3? And what's the m? Perfect. So I got everything I need. And I'm going to plug it in. Actually, Logan's going to plug it in because he's next into y equals mx plus b form. Logan, what's my y? Nope. The y. What's the m? He'll get it. He's fine. -3/4. What's the x? And I'm trying to find the b, so we're going to keep it as plus b. How's everybody doing? All right, Cody, what are you going to do next? Perfect. -3/4 times -2. What do you get, sir? Awesome. And then how do you solve that, Cody? The 1 1/2? And what do you get for your b then? Three minus 1 1/2? Okay, clear it out. It is 3 minus 1 1/2. Should be 1 1/2. Should be 1 1/2. Yep. All right, so what's the final answer? I got the m up there. I've got the b. Y equals what, folks? Awesome. That's the line that would be parallel to the original line and go through the point that's there. I'll look at it before we're done. This stuff? Yes, absolutely. Number 2 is a little bit easier. Little bit. No. What's the 0? What's the 4? What's the m? Perfect. Now, I have to find the b, don't I? Isn't the b a y-intercept? What do you know about every single y-intercept? It's 0. Isn't that x 0? So what's my b? It's 4. Right there. My b is 4. There is nothing that I need to do to calculate this. All I have to do is write the equation. Are you ready? Y equals what? There we go. If you were to calculate it all out like we just did, you'll still get that answer. You'll just have done some unnecessary work. Okay? Not cool, yeah. Do we have any more like that in this section where the 0 is the x? No. So unfortunately, that's the only one. Okay. All right, let's try another one. Number 4. And I'm up to Braden now. Braden, what's the 9 up there? And what's the 12? What's my m? Okay, so now I'm going to plug it in all into y equals mx plus b form. Braden, what's the y? Equals, what's the m? What's the m? Okay, leave the x off, just the number, which is 13, right? And then what's the x? Awesome, and I'm trying to find the b. Looks like that. I'm over to Trevor. How am I going to solve that, sir? And what is b then, sir? Okay. All I need left then, Trevor, is a final answer. I'm glad we don't have to graph this one. Where would we have to be starting? -105. And where would we have to be going? No, not down. I'd be going up 13. Isn't this positive? Up 13, right one? Yeah. All right, I got one more in this section. Tyler, I'm back to you. What's my x? I'm on number 5. There we go. And my y? And my m. All right, let's plug it all in. What's that equation going to look like? Perfect. And let's go over to Savannah. How am I going to solve that? And how are you going to solve that? Got a final equation for me then? So folks, where would I begin this line? And where would I go then? Up 3, right 1. How we doing? Do you see how we're repeating the same process over and over again? Yeah, that's not too bad, right? You're just plugging and chugging. That's all there is to it. Good? These are all parallel, right? Parallel meant we have the same slope. Well, now we're going to do perpendicular. Okay, what's different about perpendicular? They're opposite reciprocals. So I can't just use, like, see this 3 up here? I can't just use this 3 because they're not going to be the same because they're perpendicular, not parallel, right? All right, so take a look. Your directions are identical. The only thing that's different is I am telling you they have to be perpendicular now, which means opposite reciprocal slope. So take a look at number 1. The points are still x and y, aren't they? X here, y here. The slope right now is negative 1/2, correct? Well, what's the opposite of negative 1/2? No, what's the opposite of negative 1/2? You guys, you're ahead of me. I just want to know what the opposite of negative 1/2 is. Positive 1/2. Is everybody okay with that? But I also need the reciprocal, don't I? What's the reciprocal of that? Which is just 2. And this is going to be my m. And now it's the exact same process again. Good? Y equals mx plus b. I think I'm up to Sarah. Sarah, what's my y? Equals, what's my m? Times the x. And I'm looking for the b. Back over to Dalton. How am I going to solve that? And then? So b is, say it again. Perfect. And then how about a final answer? Do you all see how he used the 2, the new slope that we made, not the original slope? All right, let's do it again. Are the x and the y still the same? Yeah, x and y is still x and y up here. Gage, what's my slope right now? What's my slope in that line? No, the slope, the m. You guys all see that 3? I got to do the opposite reciprocal. What's the opposite of 3? Now do the reciprocal of that. Negative 3 is the same as negative 3 over 1, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? No, you already made it negative, so don't change it back. The reciprocal just means flip it over. Negative 1 over 3 for my m. Do you guys all understand that? Make it positive negative first, then flip it over. Luke, I'm back to you. Can you funnel everything into my equation now? Perfect. Which is? Was perfect. Perfect explanation, Luke. Awesome. You got a final answer for me then, sir? Okay, what was my slope again? Negative 1/3? So negative 1/3 x and then plus your 3 2/3. Again, I tell you folks, remember, you use the new slope that you made, not the original slope. Correct. It's going to be a parallel line. And we don't want parallel anymore, do we? No, I'm going to skip number 3 for a second. Just for a second. And do I have a number 4 down there? Okay, let's look at number 4. Oh, maybe I'm not skipping number 3. They're both the same. Yeah. What is different about number 3 and number 4? The y is in the wrong spot, isn't it? The y is not by itself. So that's the first thing we got to do is get that y by itself. Logan, how am I going to get that y by itself? Nope, I want to get everything away from this y, so I got to get rid of this first. Yep, we're going to subtract the 2x. Logan, can that 4 and the 2x go together? No, they can't, so we're going to leave them separate. Negative 2x plus 4. How we doing, guys? All right, one more step, Logan, to get that y by itself. What do you think? Perfect. Divide by 3. So I have y equals, does negative 2 divide by 3? Definitely not, right? Not exactly. It's a decimal, which I don't want. So I'm going to leave it as negative 2/3 x. Does 4 divide by 3? Does 4 split into 3 pieces? No. And folks, do I really even care what this number is over here? All I want is a slope, correct? I don't really care what this number is at all because I want the slope. I'm up to Cody now. Cody, what is my slope here? Yep. So now I got to do the opposite of negative 2/3, which is positive 2/3. Now I need you to do the reciprocal of that, Cody. Perfect. This is my m. Correct. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. All right, well, good news is the x and the y are still the same up there, aren't they, in that point? Brady, I need you to funnel everything into my formula now. What's my y? What's my m? What's my x? Perfect, and I'm trying to find the b. All right, Trevor, how are we going to solve it? Perfect. You just get 0. You do just get 0, which is fine. What is my final answer? Not plus b. I could just leave it like that. It could be plus 0 as well because it goes through the origin, doesn't it, folks? Go through the origin? 0, 0? Yeah. Okay, I got one more, and then we'll move on to our last section. This one's the same way, isn't it? Tyler, I think I'm back to you. The first thing I got to do is I got to get that y isolated. How do I do that? What's the new equation? Did you put those together? Minus 2, yep. Can't put them together, Tyler, okay? One's x and one's not. One more step for me, though. How else do I get that y by itself? Tyler. Does negative 3 divide by negative 4? No, but a negative over negative is a positive 3/4 x. Does negative 2 divide by negative 4? No, but it will reduce. Negative over negative is a positive. What's 2 over 4? No, what's 2 over 4 reduced to? 1/2. Good, Braden. But really, do I even care what that number is? No, because I just need the slope. Savannah, I'm over to you. What's my slope here? What's the opposite of 3/4? What's the reciprocal of that? Does it matter where the negative symbol is, folks? Top, bottom? Nope, as long as you don't put it two places at once. All right, so this is my M. And I'm up to Sarah. Can you funnel everything in to my equation, please? Oh, what is my Y? Equals, what's my M? My X. And I'm trying to find the B. Perfect. Well done. Dalton, solve it. Okay, so what we got? Did you multiply? And then? So the final answer? Don't forget your X. Well, Y plus 4. What's my B? Plus 10. There we go. Good to go? It's good. 2 more problems left? 3? I think there's only 2 down there, right? Technically there's 4 equations left, right? All right, your directions say, determine whether or not they're perpendicular, parallel, or neither. No, we're going to actually calculate it. No. Guess. No reason to guess. We're just going to calculate it. Okay, so what do you think number 1 is? So, okay, let's see if it's parallel. I have to know what the slopes are, don't I? Well, if I want to know the slopes, the Y has to be by itself. Good news in number 1. The first one already has a Y by itself, doesn't it? What is that first slope? 4. That's my first slope. So if they're going to be parallel, the other one has to be 4 as well, doesn't it? Well, I don't know the other one until I get the Y by itself. I'm to you. How do I get the Y by itself? Subtract what? What's the new equation? Like that? So what's the slope? So are they in fact parallel, folks? Those are not the same, are they? Okay, are they perpendicular? They are not. They're opposites. Hold on. They're opposites of each other, aren't they? But they're not reciprocals, are they? So these things are neither. You did not. You said parallel. Uh-huh. Likely story. All right, we're going to do the same thing in number 2. Bad news in number 2 is neither of them have the Y by itself. So we got to do that. You want to take a guess on this one too? You want to take a guess on this one too? Let's see. Luke, can you isolate that first Y for me? How am I going to do that? Shh. Yep. Do those divide? No. How about those? What's 35 divided by 7? Perfect. What's my slope here, Luke? What's my slope there? All right, so if it's going to be perpendicular like you're guessing it's going to be, what is the slope going to have to be? Opposites, which means you got to be positive. And then it's got to be reciprocals, which is positive 7 over 2. Good? Does that make sense why it's got to be positive? Well, opposite means positive, negative. So this one's negative, the other one's got to be positive. All right, Logan, last one here. How am I going to isolate that Y? Perfect. What's my new equation? What do I have left over here? Are those two allowed to go together? Nope, so I'm going to write minus 4x and then minus the 42. Now how do I isolate that Y, sir? So y equals, ladies and gentlemen, does 4 divide by 14? Does not divide, but it will reduce. What can I divide them both by? 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. What's 14 divided by 2? And then, why is it complicated? What is 42 divided by 14? 3. What's the slope? Were you right? You were not. You said perpendicular. What are they? They're parallel. They're exactly the same. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. I have a worksheet for you for homework tonight. Oh, yes. It's my own paper. Okay, now, yes, I know there are 2 number 10s on this paper. I apologize. I do. There's a 20 on this paper? There's 2 number 10s. Okay? So the material that we did today is the second number 10 and number 11. Obviously, this is not math, so it's all the stuff that we've been dealing with. You made not math, don't you? I do. It's cool. There's 2 number 10s. Hey, yeah, got it. You put 2 number 10s, but no name on it. That's fine. Fire me. You fired. You're scored.